Hello everyone, I'm Deepak Bari, CMO of Birdeye, and a very warm welcome to you from sunny Palm Beach. That's why we are wearing glasses. Welcome to this episode of Agentic CMO, where we bring in some of the biggest and the most forward-thinking thought leaders in the space of AI and space of marketing for multi-location brands. And I'm honored to have my guest today, Steve Estevez. He heads up the marketing for Derm Care Management. Steve, why don't you introduce your company?
Hi. Steve Estevez, head of marketing for Derm Care Management. Derm Care Management is a PE-backed dermatology, plastic surgery, med spa, and clinical research management company. We operate out of 5 states, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, Texas, and California. Our main purpose is making sure that we elevate the patient experience across the nation.
Awesome. And I have to comment, I just see your Ray-Ban glasses, so it's not just forward-thinking and forward-seeing as well. So how do you use them? It's pretty cool.
The Meta AI glasses have actually been one of my most functional purchases ever, I would say, and I've bought a lot of tech. It serves as my personal AI. It reminds me when I need I could search whenever I need it. And I have 2 young kids, so my phone is filled with the content I use with it. It also serves as, if I'm looking at something and I don't know what it is, I can ask Meta, hey, what am I looking at? It gives me contextual information as well, based on where I'm located.
I'm assuming you're asking all the answers from AI right now as we speak.
Probably, you never know.
All right, well, let's talk about AI. And I'm sure, a lot is changing in AI in terms of how consumers and customers for your brand, they engage with you. What are the biggest changes that you are seeing in terms of their expectations on what they should see from your company?
Yeah, I think that expectations have obviously shifted. ChatGPT came onto the scene to disrupt how people search. Obviously, it took them some time to get the mass adoption that they have today, but it opened the doors in terms of how people start their journey for healthcare related questions. ChatGPT right now is one of the main sources of information for people trying to self-diagnose.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's a good or a bad thing, that journey allows them to then have a more informed decision at the time that they're going to convert. So I think that's the main disruption or how AI has affected our new patient acquisition strategy for sure. And then that expectation boils into, whatever ChatGPT is telling our would-be patients, we may have to meet that at the time that they come in. So if ChatGPT is saying, they have great reviews and they help with X or X condition, go to them. Well, when someone picks up that phone or talks to us via text, we have to make sure that whoever is responding or whatever is responding can provide the same level of responses that they've already received with ChatGPT.
Yeah, and I think that essentially implies that, the way, you thought about and your marketing team thought about acquisition of customers, that has undergone a huge change as well, because you have to adapt to this.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest, Google still owns all search. So it's not something that's disrupted our entire marketing strategy today because Google still owns most of the data. It owns a lot of the data that ChatGPT is using today, right? Yeah. Claude, Perplexity. Google is still one of your central places to acquire that patient, but you'll find that the patients that are coming from these LLMs are more intent in actually seeking the service or getting that service from you. So what we've seen is traffic that is originating from these LLMs have a higher conversion rate. So that means that you should be putting some eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
And I think that, as you think forward, how do you do that? How do you solve for the type of content that you add across your website, but across other sources that it's feeding itself from?
Yeah, you are spot on. I was reading some research, and while Google continues to be, the top one, and obviously they have AI overviews and Gemini now, which, kind of blur the line in terms of where AI is and where Google is. But one of the things that is obviously coming up is that, now 60% of the searches, they don't result in any click.
Yeah.
Soon it'll be around 70% based on the current trend. So, you have to be relevant on those places so that even if the experience is no-click, people are having a good impression of your brand. They understand the services and how you differentiate from others. But I also resonate very well with the higher quality traffic. In fact, we published this data recently that on our own website, Birdeye.com, we typically see a 3x conversion rate from people who come from these AI agents. So that's very real. But let's talk about, a lot of our audiences are in similar positions. They are marketeers. And what they want to understand is, how are your teams changing? Are they adopting AI? Are they learning? Are you self-learning? How's that going?
So it's interesting because it was a crawl, walk, run. And I'm sure anyone listening to this right now understands the pressure of trying to integrate AI tools.
And perhaps a compressed crawl, walk, run.
100%. So the way that we've integrated it, first, as many people will probably relate to, is insights. It allows you to add as much context as possible from multiple sources. So all of these signals coming maybe from your retention rate data, from your call center data, from your website acquisition data, whether that's your Google Analytics data or your top funnel or bottom of the funnel data. You get to match that also with review data, your Net Promoter Score data. So what I'm trying to get at is, you can feed all of this context where you couldn't before into an LLM with, let's say, a million token context window, and it delivers a 1-page, 2-page report where you can start taking action across departments. I think that's the first kind of unlock, and many people saw that unlock. The next unlock is agentic. When that agent takes all of this context, all of this data, and starts actioning for you. And that was the next evolution in our use of AI. And we've deployed different agents for maybe scouring the internet for different trend data, right? That we could use for our content development. Maybe we want to see signals from our competitors. What are they doing? So we get to schedule things like that. Maybe you want an agent that can you can give access to your WordPress website so that it can do small updates to blog posts and whatnot. So I think these are transitions that most enterprises are going through right now. Obviously, structuring data within the enterprise is essential for it to work properly.
Yeah, no, very well said. And I think this is the transformation that we are seeing across the board. Every company is trying to figure out the best way to do that crawl, walk, run journey. And like we said, unfortunately, the timing is highly compressed because everybody is moving fast. And, obviously, ChatGPT, Perplexity, they are coming up with newer models, more capable models pretty much every other week.
Yeah.
And, just to stay on track with them gets a bit of a challenge. When you talk about people on your team, are you having a newer set of expectations from them? Are they themselves having a newer set of expectations on their own? Because they have to remain relevant in this space.
For sure. And I was having a conversation with one of our guests. It's interesting because now what you're doing as maybe the person that is overseeing AI integration at an enterprise, now what you're looking at is the usage within the different users. How much are they using it? And you're actually ranking them and saying, hey, look, this person is using X amount of tokens on a daily basis. Yeah. And you can actually follow that with the output of work that they are producing. So now you are starting to review their daily use of AI and trying to train and seeing what they're doing so that other cohort members of the team can replicate their usage. What are they doing? How are they using it? Best use cases. We have weekly meetings where we say, hey, what did you do with chat this week? And what did you do with Cloud Code this week or Cloud Cowork that worked for you? Oh, I love that you did that. How do we integrate it? How do we make an SOP out of it? How do we create projects with context so that we start using it more and more and more? And it's a self-fulfilling kind of loop where the more you use it, the better you get at it. Now, the more you use it, because then you see the results from it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And I think that bringing that culture is what is critical. Let's switch gears a little bit. You heard about some of the products we have launched. There are two products that I really want to talk about because they are core capabilities, especially in this AI world. The first one is search AI. Like you mentioned, a lot of engagement now happens in the AI realm. People are asking questions, there's back and forth happening. Organic traffic is beginning to decline for a lot of companies. Paid is always going to get more expensive every day, every month, every quarter. How do you track your visibility on these search platforms? And what do you think of the search AI capabilities that you heard today?
So first and foremost, I think that the search AI product that Birdeye has developed, and I've seen many of them, especially SEMrush had a really good product, but what Birdeye has done is by far one of the best products out there in terms of giving you local visibility at the brand and location level on how you're performing across all of these LLMs. And that is I know a lot of people can relate with me. If you've ever heard your CEO or your CMO tell you, we need to get high ranking on ChatGPT today.
Yeah.
Search AI will do that for you immediately. It will at least give you the visibility you need to see how you're ranking against your other competitors, and actionable insights that you could take to your marketing agency and say, hey, we need to work on this tomorrow. What do we do? So I think it's essential in today's toolbox for marketers. Whether you use other tools, I think comprehensive-wise, Search AI, right now, I haven't seen another product like it.
Appreciate the kind words. And I think, as we were building this product, our core idea was that we want to build something that is unique and caters to the unique challenges of multi-location brands. Because unlike a lot of SaaS companies, like our own company, we have one funnel. Multi-location brands have hundreds, sometimes thousands of funnels, and it doesn't really matter what happens at the brand level if the locations are behaving 100%. Very differently in their own competitive and microcosms of customers where they engage with them.
Yeah, Birdeye understood that very early on in my career within Dermcare. Dermcare operates, the model that we operate is we keep the brands the brands of the practices that we acquire. So what that does is you have to then start managing each location for every brand, each provider within those brands, and now the enterprise version of that. And Birdeye came in and said, we have it. We set up the whole platform specifically for that with user governance. It's amazing what you guys have done with that. So essentially, you can manage this really easily to the location level, at the enterprise level, and generate reporting on an automatic basis so that every stakeholder has visibility on these KPIs that are essential.
Yeah. Thank you. The other product that I'm very excited about is this marketing automation platform that we have created, because what we saw in the marketplace was there are a lot of really good products. Yeah. There's Marketo, HubSpot, Pardot. They're all amazing products. I use one of them.
Yeah.
But all of them are built for brands, SaaS companies, B2B kind of brands. They are not designed for multi-location needs. And what I mean by that is, you really want to make sure the emails and the messages you are sending to every location are highly personalized. And you want reporting and analytics on it. You want to really see which message, which offer is resonating with which locations.
Yeah.
And you just can't easily do it with some of these products. So that was the idea, but want to hear from your perspective, is that a need that you believe is real? And is that something that resonates with you?
Well, yes, that is a need. And I will say what Birdeye is doing that is responding to another need, which is all of these fractured products that everyone is using to accomplish these goals. What Birdeye has brought over to the forefront is understood, first of all, that enterprises and small businesses need to integrate AI quickly, and has built a well-designed agentic workforce within the product that already houses your brand identity, already houses a lot of your knowledge bases, and is now taking action on your behalf. So I agree. Yes, it is responding to a need. I love that you guys are doing this, and it will be something that we will start leveraging very soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. Thanks for this feedback. I think we are running out of time. So last question for you. A lot of marketing leaders, just like yourself, are listening to this conversation. They want to know from you, what is that one thing that they should start doing today?
I think you need to build an infrastructure, and that infrastructure is data. You need to structure data to essentially provide that context to any AI tool. Because once you have that structured context, whether it's your data warehouse that you need to work on, whatever you use, once you have that infrastructure, the LLM becomes secondary. You can use Claude today, but if you don't like Claude today or something changes, you can easily replace that with ChatGPT, Gemini, but you still have that essential structure of your data set. So I would say first, I think that's one of the first things enterprises should tackle, which is they're structuring their data and making it as accurate as possible so that it can be usable.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Steve. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure our audiences love this conversation as well. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. Till we meet again, I'm checking out from sunny Florida. Thank you.